What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another random movie review channel. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Chase, and let's talk about one. Well, two of them. I want to talk about Terrifier and Terrifier 2. Now, Terrifier 2 is the one that's making the rounds in terms of, it being gross and vile and disgusting and just, people are throwing up and just losing their ever loving minds watching this film. But I didn't want to just review the second one because I actually had never seen the first one. So this is a package deal, two reviews in one. I'm going to be going over the Terrifier series. So, what are these movies about? Well, I'll just kind of read you the plot of the first one, and number two is basically more of the same. On Halloween night, Tara finds herself as the obsession of a sadistic murderer known as Art the Clown, and that's what your first one's about. And the second one is also Art the Clown just stalking people. But yeah, so going into all of these, oh, by the way, where you can watch these, I think the first one is like on Vudu and a bunch of other rental sites, and the second one's currently playing in theaters. I'm sure it'll be available here in a couple months. But so going into this, I've been hearing all these stories about number two, and just people are just absolutely just flabbergasted at something so violent could be in theaters. And like, I heard a lot about the first one as well, and that came out in 2016. So it's been a very long time since the first one. So I thought, okay, I like gory films. I've seen movies like Dead Alive and Evil Dead. I think I can handle this. So I was like, let's watch both of these and review them. So let's start with the first one. After watching the first one, I can tell you that it's fine. The one thing I really appreciate about the first one is that director and writer Damien Leon, Leone or Leon, I don't know how to pronounce that. My apologies. But this film was made for like $35,000, and the one thing I really appreciate about it the most is that it's filmed like a low budget indie horror film, and um when I was in film school, I did film races, and so I made movies that had like similar shots and lighting and stuff, and it just brought me back to the good old days of just like watching people come together, no matter the amount of money, and just creating something. And in this case, it's a really bloody and violent horror film. So, um, I have so much respect for director Damien for both these films, actually, but for this one in particular, it feels grungy and dirty and just you can definitely feel it was made with passion behind people that just love making films, and they weren't trying to go for like the best quality possible, because there are, just speaking objectively here, there are some shots that uh have really harsh lighting, especially in the nighttime scenes, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to do that same stuff in film school, so I totally get it. And some of the acting is piss poor. And to be honest with you, this story is not really a lot of anything. It's just, it's very straightforward. Like, there's a lot of accidents happening in this town. This clown is murdering people, and we follow these people that get kind of trapped into all this. So it's a survival tale. It's not like I said, anything crazy, but yeah, it, I thought it was fine. It's very gory. It holds up to be infamous, just like people say it is online. It being one of the goriest films ever made. I've seen a lot of gore in my life. This one had a kill in it that was pretty brutal. And what's interesting about these films is that Damien tries to do a balance of like dark comedy and kind of grounded violence, and it works sometimes. And I think with the first one, definitely they're just trying to find their footing with it. And really, I think the overall product, I think hits the mark for the most part, as what it's sold to be. It's not sold as anything more. So, and like I said, the performances are fine, but I will say, David Howard Thornton, this man is a genius. The physicality and the silence of Art the Clown, and the makeup and the prosthetics and everything about it is such a well realized role, and not really saying anything and just using your smile and your eyes to convey what you're conveying. And Art the Clown could be smiling at you 1 second, and then his smile drops and just gives you like this dead killer look. It's an amazing performance, and I actually believe this after watching two of them now. Art the Clown's gonna go down as an iconic horror villain. He just is. Um, Give it time. The first one was definitely a cult favorite, and the second one has now become a cult classic, in the making. Like, it's a small group of people that came out for it, but now like the second one's box office is just blowing up. But we'll get to that in just a second. But in terms of the first one, I think Howard Thornton as Art the Clown was terrifying. He was great. And so yeah, as far as a first film goes, made for $35,000. Yes, there are some critiques you can make with the cinematography and lighting and acting, but you know what? I respect it. I really do, and it's got some really great stuff in it that I think will actually go down as like cult classic type of stuff. Um, and yeah, so I had a decent time with Terrifier. I want to take a break to thank the sponsor of this video, Movie Palette. Hi, it's me interrupting me, and I just wanted to take a break to thank the sponsor of this review, Movie Palette. Movie Palette takes the concept of the movie poster to the next level. Movie Palette consists of stripes of colors carefully chosen by their team of artists. Every stripe represents a color of a particular scene in a movie and is put in chronological order on the canvas. There are so many movies to pick from, and it doesn't even stop there. They also have whole seasons of TV shows. I recently moved and I needed some things to put on my wall, and I was getting tired of putting up traditional movie posters and wanting something different, and Movie Palette stepped up to the plate. The movie palette that I chose was one of my favorite movies of all time, Logan. This gorgeous palette is a constant reminder of how beautiful this film is and how each scene evokes a different emotion all through its language of color, not to mention a great conversation starter. This is a unique piece to any film and TV lover's home, and I want to help you get one. Use the discount code CHASE15 for 15% off of any product on their website. Film is art, so why not display your favorite as such? That's 15% off of your order when you use the code CHASE15. So now the second one rolls around. And the second one, I heard that, people are like passing out and like, oh my God, like, why is this in theaters? And it was made for $250,000. So they definitely got a bigger budget for this one. And it has now made over $8 million. That's incredible. So this reminds me of like when I went to go see Hatchet 2. Hatchet 2 was one of those films that was unrated. It was a sequel and it got put into a theater for like a week and I decided to go watch it. And it was gory for sure, but this film makes that look like Sesame Street. So yeah, I've seen this happen before where they kind of have these unrated horror films and they kind of just throw them in theaters and see what happens. People are responding, pretty well to Terrifier 2. So now we get to Terrifier 2. And what is this one about? Does the plot synopsis change? Well, after being resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to the timid town of Miles County, where he targets a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night. So, like I said, the budget was a little higher, so obviously it's going to look a little better. And this one's also like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's a long movie, so strap in. So I saw it. I like this one a little bit more than the first one, but I will say the 2 hour and 20-minute runtime, it's not necessary. There are several scenes that could have been shaved down in this film, and it probably would have picked up the pace a little bit better. But I actually like the story. I like the fact that we focus on like a specific family for like a long period of time because it allows us to get to know them and really root for their survival as they're fighting this like, demonic thing. And so yeah, I thought the story was a little bit better. It gives us a little bit more backstory and a little bit more emotional weight for these people. um I also thought the kills were even grosser in this one, and so they definitely upped their game for this one. So if they make a Terrifier 3, I'm absolutely mortified at what they're going to put in it for sure. But the kills are gruesome and fantastic when it comes to slashers. David Howard Thornton is still amazing as Art the Clown. I think even more so with this one. Um, the acting is not 100% there. The writing is also not 100% there, but the ending of the film leaves a back door to the supernatural now, and so Terrifier 3 is going to be off the charts. It's going to be absolutely insane, and I'm here for it. But that's kind of my overall general thoughts. So let's kind of break it down. Writer director Damien Leone. I think once again, taking this bigger budget, he was able to really show just like how much it makes of a difference to have more money with your budget. It looks nicer. The cinematography is crisper. Some of the lighting is a bit harsh in some of the nighttime scenes still, but it kind of adds a charm to it, of like, hey, this is like one of those like low budget indie horror films. Like, look at it. It's not incredibly polished. Like, I actually kind of like that. I think it's a little charming. But yeah, I think adding this kind of richness to like characters and backstories and stuff, it really made us care about the family, especially when they're getting down to the wire and they're having to fight Art the Clown. I think Damien did a great job kind of laying that groundwork early on in the film. Um, like I said, I think the kills are even more sadistic in this one. I don't know how Damien comes up with these kills, but it's disturbing. But no, in all seriousness, like it's a slasher film. Like you need to serve on kills. This film does not shy away from it. Listen, I've seen a lot of disturbing films. I've seen a lot of graphic films and bloody films and violent films. This one's up there. It really is, but it's not like deathly serious because it does kind of play more into like a dark comedy sometimes. So it kind of dips in and out. But at the end of the day, it's still a slasher film and it delivers on the kills. If you that's what you go to these movies for, this hands down has some of the best kills I've ever seen in a slasher horror film. It was mortifying. I had to sit there in disbelief, like thinking to myself, like, this can't get any worse, can it? And then it just ups the ante. But yeah, I thought he did a pretty great job in terms of directing and writing and really kind of upping his game with the bigger budget and making it look a little crisper. I also like some of the backstory between Art the Clown, and it kind of has David Howard Thornton's flex his performance muscles a little bit more. But I really like the backstory with that. And like I said, Damien leaves the door open to the supernatural now, so I'm curious to know like how crazy they can get with the third one because they're going to make a third one. They made so much money off their budget, and they're going to be able to get a bigger budget, and it's going to be even. Oh my god, I can't wait. Honestly, this is a fun little trilogy. Performance wise, everyone's fine. The main character is pretty good for the most part. Her name is what is her name? Lauren Lavera. I thought she was pretty good as the lead. I preferred her over the lead in the first one. She's got like a bit of this like you know bite to her personality. Like she's kind of rebel, but she's really kind of sweet and like she likes to talk to people. And I don't know, just seeing her kind of rise up and take charge of her own destiny and kill or try to kill Arthur Clown towards the end, like that was satisfying because she definitely was in fight or flight mode and she had to just do what she had to do. So I thought she was pretty good. And everyone else, like I said, is fine. The woman that plays her mother, yeah, she was probably one of the weaker ones, in terms of like it felt like I was watching Birdemic at points. Um, and then yeah, David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown. I gotta tell you, this man is gonna go down as one of the best horror icons and horror performances. Like he is incredible in this film. There are a couple of scenes where like he is hallucinating and you kind of see this like dead look on his face. It was a face I hadn't seen before, like even in the first one. And I thought that was really dynamic for his performance to really kind of emote a lot. Since he doesn't say anything. He just laughs and giggles sometimes, but he mimes a lot of this stuff. So he has to use a lot of these facial techniques and really creep us out, make us kind of like uncomfortably laugh at points, make us feel like kind of um terrified and like a little sad for him, like just a little bit, especially like when he sees what he sees and like that maybe there is a soul in there. That's what I was trying to get to. Like maybe there's a soul in there, but he's just so sadistic. It's kind of hard to see any type of redemption for him. But I don't know. I just thought there was um a little bit more depth to Art the Clown this time. And I think for the third one, I can't wait to see like what he does. It's a very unique performance. Performance where you don't say anything. It's very, Michael Myers esque meets like Pennywise the Clown. Like that's what we're looking at here. So yeah, I thought he was phenomenal in this. Especially watching the first one and watching this one is a huge step up. But yeah, and then everything else is nothing really much to kind of pinpoint. I will say for both of the films, I do like the sound, the score, very techno, like kind of 80s grunge, synthetic like type of. I don't know. I like it, and it really kind of encompasses the whole like grindhouse like style of the film where it feels gritty, it feels rough and dirty, and just like you feel like you're watching this film from like the 70s or something. I don't know. It fits with, like I said, the grindhouse kind of grunge look and feel to it. So bonus for the second one, I was the only one in the theater, and I don't know, I was just very happy, just very zen, just kind of being. I didn't have to be around like annoying moviegoers or anything. Like that was nice. So I got to see something by myself. I was literally by myself in the entire theater. It was great. So, but yeah, I had a decent time with the first one. While the second one is still long and it definitely could have been chopped down, I like it a little bit more. So that's kind of my thoughts, overall thoughts on Terrifier and Terrifier 2. Thank you for joining me on this long, long review. But yeah, that's my kind of take on both of them. I think Art the Clown will be one of my favorite icons in the future, and this is definitely a true definition of what a cult classic in the making looks like. So love to be a part of it, especially be a part of the when the third one comes out, people are like, "Oh man, I should really check out the first two." I'll be like, "I saw the second one in theaters by myself." So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Terrifier, Terrifier 2. Please let me know down below what you thought of the films. And yeah, thank you to our sponsor, Movie Palette, for sponsoring this review. And that will do it for these reviews, guys. I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.